40 minutes.
Perfect, man. Look, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me cut the phone off.
No.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. We'll get this thing going. Yo,
It's those mics. When you hook them up, sometimes it messes it up. You gotta hit a certain button for them to work right.
when I say, bro, we've been podcasting since 10:30 this morning. I'm like this, bro. I didn't talk. I said, yo, have I been talking all day? Man, I was like, yeah, nigga, all motherfucking day. You've been talking. And still, we just finished one as we spoke. So, man, let's get to it, man. Listen, guys. Oh, there we go. Right on my screen. We're here with Chris Moore. We literally just did an episode on our podcast called Mentorship and the Power and Importance of it. So, Chris, for one, let's go back and, if you don't mind, walk them through a little bit of your journey and what it means to have a mentor and how you got to this place where now you're both mentee and still mentoring tons of people, including me.
All it does is it helps you. For me, when I was being mentored, it was a little different than it is now. They didn't help us much. Plus, we didn't have the internet. We couldn't do what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So we had to read a lot of books. We had to get ideas from each other or key phrases or key words, and then we had to go and look them up and see what they meant somehow, some way. And some of the things that I did learn, I have to pass it on. It's just a rite of passage. I was taught, so now it's my turn to teach someone else. And it saves you time. You know what I mean? Just think about it. If you have kennel cough, something as stupid as kennel cough, $450 later, you got your dollars on doxycycline and Robitussin. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's just it. Those are the things that we can pass forward. The biggest challenge is people are going to be people and they want to learn their way. They're hard-headed, just like I was, just like you was.
I'll be honest with you.
No, that shit.
I try to practice now. I mean, you think about it, and we just did this. I said my whole goal was to find people like you coming back into the space because I learned the power of mentorship. And because I come from a business space, when you go seek investment, your goal is to minimize loss. Like real entrepreneurs, they don't take risks. They're like, how do I achieve this idea, this goal without spending a shit ton of money and losing, right? So I know what you're saying because a hard head make a soft behind. Grandma always said it. I done got my ass whooped plenty times because when I was a kid, you're like, I'm gonna do it this way. And you fuck up. But then once you shift, and for me, it was very at a young age, you go, Ryan, I don't got the time to be spending time doing dumb shit. And I think one of the worst places from where I come from, I used to tell young niggas this. I said, listen, don't get to a place where the only choice you got is a bad and worse decision because you're going to jail. Once you get there, you going.
How long you going for?
Yeah, it's like now it's like how much time you gonna do because my job is to prevent you from really fucking up. But if you don't want to listen, you're gonna back yourself in a corner. You got bad and worse. Both of them lead to the same place. How much time you do is on you. So now that you've been mentored, again, can't thank you enough for all the stuff that you've enlightened me on and things that we do. What are some things you wish you knew 20 years ago when you started?
Hey yo, you want to hear something funny? I can't see you, but you can see me, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm literally looking at a white screen out of nowhere.
Oh shit! It just went white.
Yeah. I don't even know what the hell happened, bro. I promise you, I don't even know. Where's our whatchamacallit? Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can still see you, bro. You're clear as day, man.
Hey, Marcus, what I'm supposed to be doing, man?
He said his screen went white. What's up? He said he can't see us, but we can see him. He said the screen went white on Zoom. Is there anything we should be
doing? I can't see anything. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I ain't never seen my whole screen is white.
You can leave the Zoom and come back and it should reset it.
Well, we can PC.
No, I mean he can leave it. It'll take 2 seconds.
Oh, so you can leave the Zoom and come right back. Just click the link.
And he'll let you right back in and it'll just should reset it.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife, she answered the phone.
Oh. That's the only downside to it all be connected because
little motivated podcast.
It might still be here. I just can't see it. Hold on.
Oh, so that makes sense.
I don't know what the hell, bro. I promise you, I can't see anything. I don't even know where it's at. I don't even know how to. Oh, zoom. Here it go, all the way down here. There we go. Your whole screen went white.
Yeah, no,
Gina's phone is because it's connected to the phone. Her phone, her mom just called her, and boom, so the whole phone went white, and so my mother-in-law was calling.
oh my God! Again, 20 years ago, what's one of the things you wish you knew now that you didn't learn 20 years ago?
I wish I would have listened more.
Ah,
Honestly, the one thing I wish I'd known from my learning over the last 2 decades was um, don't fall victim to fads.
mm, man.
So, I had really nice dogs 10 years ago. Really, really. I got nice dogs now, but I had to build up from them being blue. My wife wanted blue dogs, so I started all over with to make blue dogs. And I'm getting there now with like Rocky. I'm happy with Rocky, and he carries blue. He's not even blue. You know what I mean? He just carries blue. So, I wish I would have try to achieve it in a different manner. I wish I'd have kept some of the stuff that I had and tried to make it blue versus starting all over. You know what I mean? Not only that, the one thing I probably would have done different is, I would have paid a little bit more attention to health starting off in the beginning. So when I got to a position where I found or made a dog that I was really happy with, I didn't have to start all the way over.
Mm,
And building a dog that can produce versus a dog that just looks good. There's a huge difference. You know what I mean? You can build a dog that looks amazing, but he couldn't. I mean, he's better off pissing in puddles than he is producing puppies. And then you got the dogs that look good and can produce well. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And
Look,
it's all about how do you build it.
I'm here for the education. Now, also, let's paint a picture. We talked the other day, and I kind of chastised you a little bit, but when you look at Apple and how it started, these guys built a computer from scratch, and people said, "I really like that." And kind of what you're saying, if you stay true to your cause, it tends to. Steve Jobs' expectations for being who he is were always unrealistic. So he's a psychopath because he had these like, hey, Steve, you're asking too much. He's like, am I? Or are you just not good enough? So he poured that expectation into this company that started with him and Wozniak just building an idea because they were like, oh, I like building computers. And it turned into this thing that's, kind of taken over our lives in a sense that allowed us to do things like this even. But when you look at where do you think if you had thought this way, you could have been effective in the business side of the dog space because breeding dogs still pigeonholes you to like this one idea, right? It's
Yeah,
limited in
I
terms
wish.
of scale.
I mean, I do wish I changed that about my life. Um, I was the business side of it never appealed to me. I genuinely just wanted to make dogs. I was just this is gonna sound childish, but this is what I always thought of. 20 years from now, I wanted to be, that listen, this is what you must do. You know what I
The
mean? Like,
Godfather type motherfucker.
yeah, like I just wanted to be that. And that was it for me. I just wanted to have dope dogs. For me, it was never about a name. It wasn't about Chris. It wasn't about Balky Build. It wasn't about I Bulldog. It wasn't about any of that. What I wanted was when people saw a dog and they say, damn, you must have got that from Chris. That's all I ever cared about. That's all I ever wanted. I didn't care if it was blue, purple, pink, white. I just wanted that admiration, that unanimous admiration that whew, I might hate this fucker, but damn, he can breed dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I never put any business thought into it. Never thought about, people like you and Angel, how you guys put a business mindset to this business. And sometimes I get frustrated with you guys because that's like, you ask me questions, I tell you the answers, and then next thing I know it, both of y'all are getting 40 million views off of a fucking thought. I just answered the question for it because it's something so common to me. And it's not being ugly. It's not saying it's juvenile. It's just something that I have done for the last 15 years. And it's like tying your shoes. Like, no shit, you have to tie your shoes, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not, you know, when you first try to learn to wear shoes, you wear fucking Velcro shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kid.
So I get it. Yeah, and I wish I would have paid more attention to the business side because I see I tell older gentlemen that are, you know, that mentored me, hey man, you can't be mad. Them young motherfuckers, they know how to use the internet. That's what I tell them. That's what I say about people like you can't be mad at him. So just because that fucker can use the internet and your ass can't even spell internet, like don't be mad at him. And now I'm falling victim to the same. I'm not mad. I'm just saying I'm falling victim to the same answers that they are wanting because you know how to take it and turn it into a business and turn it into social media where I'm just like, man, I'd rather go pick up shit.
Literally, people. He would literally be
Yeah.
outside in fucking rain boots and a coat and freezing cold, shoveling shit. That's not a false. I've walked up on his crib. I'm like, what are you guys back there doing? They're just bleaching and cleaning shit. That's your
I
thing. Now,
mean,
I
but
mean,
see, there's where people like you and Angel and them guys, they've come into my life and you've definitely say, hey, listen, Chris. I mean, that's good. That's your passion. That's, you know, that's awesome. But, you know, you do know that you can do more. You know what I mean? And it's, you know, the cool part is, you know, younger, you know, we as the older generation and the younger generation, the 20-year-olds, and I'm 45. I look at the 20-year-olds and I do have some form of admiration for them because they do know how to use social media, but they might not know how to the best dogs or know how to breed dogs the best or even care for the dogs the best. And I'm not saying that in an ugly fashion or
oh, it's the
form,
truth. It's the truth.
but I tell you what they do know how to use. They know how to promote the fuck out of them dogs. So I can't be mad at him because he out hustled me. He outsold me in a dog because why? He put his product for more people to see than I do.
Guys, let me be
So
very
the thing
clear.
is the more irons you have in the fire, the more money you make, right?
It's more probable. So if you ever, guys, you can go watch a couple documentaries. If you have stock friends, definitely do it. But you go talk to the stock people, they'll tell you, hey, you're gonna lose. But if that one fucking stock goes, then you could literally, you know, GameStop's a prime example. It could change everything. If you put $20,000 across 10 concepts, or as Kevin Lewis said, he never has 5% invested in various industries, and one of them hits, 20 bands could turn to 2.5 mil, and you take that same 2.5, take 100,000 now, because we started with 20,000. So you think I gotta go gamble 2.5? No, let's take 100,000 from the 2.5 and then see if we can make 1.5. And you keep doubling your money over 20 investments, and you don't need them all to work, but you need one to work. So when you're at least playing, you know, to play the game to try to win, then you know the probability of you being successful is so much greater. And you know, as I've told Chris, man, I said, you know, I'm definitely planning on making this guy a billionaire, and it's because of my ability to brand and execute and really look at the market. So I love what you said too, because when I put on paper, for me, it was going to the even the when we went to the shelter a couple weeks ago. You say, I don't want to participate. Like I don't want to contribute to this, you know. And I know that Chris, you came down here to Texas just to get a few dogs that people wanted to surrender back to you per se before potentially having to go the fucking foster route or whatever route they were going to go. But you say, what is your company and what is his identity? I'm Pure Education, and education's a big market. How many ways in which can we leverage education while solving problems and managing outcomes? Because 9 out of 10 people buy a dog impulsively, and that's where guys like Chris or Chris come in, because he has processes written down. He has processes to solving things that would cost you, $50 versus $600, over the first year of your dog's life. This shit gets expensive, man. It gets really expensive. So if you were, maybe giving someone advice who's starting out, because that's kind of this is the intro to Chris and I doing, guys, let me put this out here. There are going to be 50 episodes. There's 52 weeks in a year. I'm going to, stress Chris until we get through 50 episodes of just him and I having a dog segment where you get to lean into learning, being led by those who are trying to do their best for the dogs. And then even more importantly, I want to be here through the process of watching financial growth along with other things that I think we're going to be able to achieve. But if you had to give some of those young folks and old people wanting to start breeding, what would be your best advice, man?
There's a saying, don't have champagne dreams with beer nut money. So I would tell you to start slow. The thing that most people don't have when they breed dogs is patience. And I've done this for a long time, and even I don't have patience sometimes. Like I look at a puppy and I'm like, nah, you can sell it. Not what I was looking for. And then come back 2 years later, and I'd be like, damn, where you get that dog from? Oh, that's the one you gave me. Can I have it back? Yeah. But it takes a lot of patience, and I would tell you be patient. A lot of times I've seen people come in dogs and they'll buy a dog, then they'll see another dog, and then it becomes an addiction overnight, like very badly. Next thing you know it, you're 50, 60, $70,000 in the hole, and you're not making any money back. So if I told you, hey, listen, we're gonna open a store together, it's 200 grand to open. You give up 100, I give up 100, and I lay everything out. Everything makes sense. The next thing I know, the very next week, I say, hey, Trev, I need another 20,000. What for what? Oh, I want to do this. And the next week, hey, I need another 20,000. You would tell me, listen, this doesn't make any sense. This is poor business. This is the same thing that people do with dogs. They buy their first dog, just say it was 5Gs. And then the next week they bought another one for 4Gs and then another one for 2Gs. Now you into it for 15,000, maybe something like that after transport and all your visits. And you ain't gonna make any money back on your investment for at least 2 years.
Easily.
So I would tell people to start slow. I've seen so many people come in, spend their 401ks and spend, their life savings to try to get in the dogs and think it's a get rich scheme, or, oh, Chris makes $100,000 or Chris makes this much money, I can do that. Dog breeding, people get offended by when I tell them this. Just because you paid $10,000 for your dog does not mean you're going to make $10,000 per puppy when you sell them puppies.
At all.
That's not how it works. Because the reason you know who this particular person is based off of popularity is first and foremost. Unless you were some absolute Google whiz to where you can be at the top of the damn search engines and day one, people are not going to know who you are to the level that you want to be within, I'd say, 2 to 3 years. I mean, you can do it with your first litter where you can make majority of your money back. Don't get me wrong. And it's going to take stuff like you, how you promote all the time. It's not easy. You can't promote once in a blue moon and think that them puppies are going to sell themselves because you bought puppies. It's not how it works. So I would just tell people to be patient. Hey, on the side note, I did talk to Taddy for you today. He said, yeah, come on up.
But I will either go see him tomorrow or probably Thursday. One of them days.
No, Thursday don't work because he work at the sale barn in Oklahoma.
Then it looks like tomorrow it is.
It's either like he don't work there. He the whole office closed down on Thursday.
That's what I like to hear, man. Look, I would definitely get up there, man, and just at least get out there. Does he get there pretty early? Does he get there in the morning?
Yeah.
Good. No, say less. I'll go see him in the morning. That's a simple.
And I already talked to him. I already talked to him about it, everything. So stuff like that is what I enjoy outside of the dogs, but inside the dog space. Like I like, because I really have a lot of respect for both of you guys. And if there's any way that both of you can help each other, it's amazing to me. Like I love that portion.
My intent is bruh, we'll talk about mentorship in detail one of these days with you, but it's kind of what we spoke about. The beauty about everyone I've been around is people genuinely want to see people grow. And I told people, I said, I'm not an emotional person. I'm not even a guy who sheds a lot of tears, but watching the people I'm around improve, man, it brings tears to your eyes watching people actually get better, man. And that's always been one of my intents. So
Because it's genuine.
yeah, man, you go, bro.
I might fuck with Jamarcus, but yo, I got mad respect for Jamarcus. I fuck with Jamarcus. Hey, I know you're there, Jamarcus.
He's not in
What?
the room, but
Oh,
we've talked about it, man, and it just goes back to that fortitude and him being able to embrace the journey, and then just kind of learn, sit back and learn. Sometimes the best thing people could do is shut the fuck up. It's like, yo, if you shut up and just watch
yeah.
what's happening, you be
It's not
surprised.
even that. The things that people don't understand is for dog business, your pedigree is your resume.
Mm.
For you, for you particularly, a year ago, you told me you were going to set out and get 1 million followers. I was like, all right, whatever, man. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but okay. Now, a year and a half later, you got over what, 2 million followers on all platforms?
Collectively, yes,
So obviously, let me shut the fuck up because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but you do because you got 2 million followers, and I'm over here. I don't even know how many, like 8,000. I've been doing this shit for 20 years.
yeah.
So it's not about. So the thing is if we can put our pride aside, which is a very hard and humbling thing to do at times.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a shit if you're 10 or you're fucking 800. Putting your pride aside and saying that someone can teach you something is something that if you can't do it, you'll never learn.
And say and people, I tell you, for me, it was refreshing because even Martinez, David came up to me at the show and he says, Drift. I said, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I was in the middle of the ABKC ring shooting Martinez, blues, blue, and he is asking
Yeah.
me, what are you gonna do? And I'm telling him everything I'm gonna do. People be like this, even my homeboy Rich, they be like this. And then fast forward, they like, man, you said you was gonna do dogs, boy. I didn't know you was gonna do it like that, my nigga. Like, fuck you. I said, I told you. You already told me. I don't know how to do, 10. I'm like, I'm gonna go to 1,000, 1,000%. Then you gotta outwork me. And that's not probable in most cases. But I leaned into it, trying to find the people who I believe could better me, keep me in check. I could learn from and then leverage. And in this case, leverage is business credit. Everything we're doing, it's like, yo, I'll leverage Chris's brain, give him percentage of everything across the boards because the money's never gonna make me or break me. I've been the same nigga from day one, and I'm always gonna be that individual who just foundation cares. I've never chased money, cars, clothes, and no hoes. And that thing, like when people like, I'm about to bring the best dog, I'm like, my man, let me be very clear with you. You ain't never gonna do something so special that the world gives a shit. Maybe your mama and your daddy cares, but when you want to change the world, you have to think bigger. And in our case, you said, how can we impact globally the whole pet industry? I'm not going to do that with American Bully. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to
Well,
happen.
it's not that. What people don't understand is each breed is probably only 1% of the pet market.
Exactly. If
And
that.
then your niche is even 1% of 1%. And when I try to get people to understand that, it's like, fuck you. All right, well, fuck me. But at the end of the day, it hurts your feelings, but it's the reality is, and I had to understand that too. People like, who are you? All right, I'm a nobody, brother. I promise you, I don't look for accolade. You've never seen any. The only reason that shit's on the wall for my wife. I don't give a damn about any of it.
Bro,
You
they
know that.
outside this nigga, the front of his house got trophies. The trophies, and mind you, same thing. People, are you gonna take your
Dogs
dog to a
piss
dog
on them.
show? Are you gonna do? I said, no, bro, that's not my industry is changed. I want to sit at the table, and I put it like this. Think of it this way, people, in respect to everybody. Peers need to be around peers. What does that mean? NBA players hang around NBA players. Dogmen
Yeah.
often hang around dogmen. I'm a businessman, so if I can sit Jeff Bezos at the edge of this table, that means I personally I'm talking to one of my mental peers because I need to be Elon. I need to be in that position, not breed no goddamn dog. And I believe, to be clear, guys like Chris and a few others, guys, you guys are just as impactful in this. I just believe I know how to bring it to life and shed that light on this thing where we could change everything. But foundationally, it starts with the dog. It starts with one dog, one idea.
Well, that's what opened the door. The dog opened the door. And
Absolutely.
I really wish that a lot of people, I think, I do believe that the old and the new, the old and the young, I'll use that, not old and new, the old generation has something that is tangible. And the
Ultimately.
young generation has something that's extremely tangible. And if we would meet in the middle, we would actually be fucking explosive. But the problem is, you got the young motherfuckers telling me, I'm older. Oh, you old motherfucker, you know what you're talking about. All right, well, cool. And then you got the old crowd talking about, I don't need no social media. Okay, well, what do you think, you're gonna run an ad in the newspaper and somebody's gonna fucking read it?
Them days are
When's
over.
the last time yeah, them days is over. You know what I mean? I understand we used to have shit called Dog Fancy and Dog World and all that kind of shit. Them days is over. Everything's right here at the motherfucking, literally at the base of your palm.
Yeah.
If you can't put it on my palm, it ain't no point no more.
Man,
And so the young crowd, people like Jamarcus, who is younger than me, people like Stan, who's younger than me, they look at them. They listen. Here's what I'll tell people if they don't know. Trevor came to my house a long time ago. He gave me the blueprint in motherfucking writing, told me what I needed to do. Obviously, I didn't do it. But and Jamarcus did it. Fucking Stan did it. And both of them have like 50,000 followers. I don't know how many they got now, but
I mean,
they
Jamarcus
got
did
way more than my
100,000.
old ass.
He had 100,000 on TikTok, and that was one of the goals I set for him. But people, keep in mind what he said. You go down to Jamal's office right now. I wrote a plan up on his wall, the blueprint to what we have to achieve. It's on my wall right here. When I wake up and look left, I believe in plans, and this is why we're not. I'm not. It's not a figment of my imagination. So even when Chris says, "Yo, you told me you was gonna get a million," that wasn't a figment of my imagination. I wrote this shit down, and if I could prove, if I could find that this would be of value to people, I'll double down and I'll make this turn into a thing. But we did that in the first year. He said, fuck, dude, this fucking works. We're on to something here. And I don't even know what's going on. What I do know is because I have guys like Chris and Ruben and Jamal supporting Jamarcus and Stan wanting to grow. I think, Chris, you probably not give yourself enough credit. I think you do want to grow, but it's been those pivotal moments where, I've come and saw you, and you'll see how even being on my platform raises, a sense of your value, just because they're like, yo, you know him. But then they're not knowing I'm only coming because you add 1,000% value to my life. I'm like, it ain't about me. I'm like, I'm here to learn from this guy. This is the value add. And I got to say this too, to what you're saying. James Feltus, I got a chance to interview him and talk to him at a Vegas show. And he said, somewhere we stopped talking to the young people, and we no longer mentors. So now it's this bridge that just got burned, and nobody's having a conversation. So y'all just doing whatever the fuck y'all want, because there was no more standing. Once we got what we needed and we had our dogs, and we was like, fuck this, I'm gonna just host shows or whatever. He said, we no longer want to talk to none of y'all motherfuckers. So we just let the shit go. And now it's in disarray.
Because then we had to figure that there was a saying, RTFB, read the fucking book.
Yeah.
That's what they used to tell us, RTFB, read the fucking book. So, we had to find books and, hey, your stifles are straight. What the fuck's a stifle? You know what I mean? I mean, think about it when you first got into dogs, your very first puppy. That dog grew up, he's, 10 months old. He thought he was the baddest fucker that ever walked the planet. And then some random old head came up, oh man, he a little mangy looking. He need a little striding stifles. You know what I mean? And you be like, what the fuck is mangy and what is stifles? You know what I mean?
Man.
And then he'll tell you, I know old head, he probably told you, oh, rub some old motor oil on him, he'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
That's some shit that, granted, that used to work because I had sulfur in oil, and there's none in it now. But you know what I'm saying? That was the reason they did it. But you know what I'm saying? Nowadays, with someone would just say, Stan, he has a problem.
Yeah.
Dog has cough. What do I do? I'll give him Robitussin. And then looks at you like, why are you looking at me? What's your problem? And that's just it. Or if we can connect the dots again, which I think there is some people that are, my wife is obviously getting another phone call. Phone, it goes white, and now I know how to fix it though. So the thing is if we can connect those dots, we'll be better off for it. Yeah. The problem is it's hard to connect those dots because our pride won't let us. Well, and that's where I'll give you credit. I'll give Jamarcus credit. I'll give Stan credit. The thing is the one thing you did really good with your group of people is you told them, listen, Don't put your ego in the way. It ain't gonna help you any. And that's awesome. You know what I mean? And I like that. And that's why I think me and you get along, because if you know anything about me, I don't have no ego.
No, man.
I'll learn from the best of them.
Yeah,
And
no.
I've learned from the worst of them.
You got to learn from everybody in this life, people. But and that's the
Yeah.
thing, people. When I look at where I think we all can go and how we want to grow, it's really not about me. You people say it, I tell people you got to quit living in your hero. Some people need that dog or that thing that it could be bad sports even to feel like this. I'm the man. I played for the such and such in '88, and that's all that matters.
He said 88.
Hey, look, no, true story. This guy might see this one day, but he introduced himself because he played 1 year for the Mavs at the stadium me and Maul went to, and he got hurt and never played again and became a police officer. But he had to let you know at 5'10", he played for the Mavs literally in like '85. You go, oh man, you gotta let that go, bro.
The same thing happens in dogs. I'm gonna tell you what they do. Watch this. Oh, I don't. What's the most famous XL that you know?
I think a dude told me about something like King Lion or something one time, Liger.
Okay, we'll just say King Lion. I mean, I know who that is, but I'm just saying. Oh, he's a King Lion son. You do know that you didn't do damn shit for your brand. I asked you what the dog's name, and your response to me was he's a King Lion son. All right, well, thank you. Now I'm gonna go look up King Lion.
Bruh,
You didn't do anything for you.
at all.
So
At
that's
all.
what it's the same thing with dogs. You gotta, you know, promote you, promote you, promote you. And that's what the young group has done very well. They promote them. And I wish that my group of peers would learn that from each other, from that young group. That's what they do best. That's what the young group does.
Yeah.
Even though they do say, but the thing is, I never wanted to build my kennel off of the name of a dog. I wanted it to be based off my ability. And that's the same thing with you. It's not about the dogs, because I bust your balls about some of the shit you do with them dogs, and I make fun of you sometimes, even. You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
the thing is you never let that stop you, because it wasn't about the dogs in particular. It was about having fun with the dogs. It was about showing what you're learning at the same time. And a lot of people, they can't. It's almost like reading in front of a class.
Oh
That's the
man.
best way I can explain it.
Yeah, no,
Reading in front of the class, I'm a poor reader, and I don't have no shame in saying that. I'm dyslexic. I'm a poor reader. But if I got to read in front of that class, because I'm about to cut the fuck up, and I'm about to go to the principal's office.
you'd rather go there than actually have to face the music per se.
You're damn right. So, but the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's basically what people need to see. You didn't shy away from reading in front of the class like the best gifts. You know what I mean? You was in front of that camera sounding like me when I was in third grade. my name is Chris Moore. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do that shit. I want to now look at my name. You know what I mean? Pretty much memorized the whole thing. And now look at you. And that's what people don't understand. And that's my biggest issue. My fear is in front of the camera. I don't particularly care for it.
Yeah.
I like just being outside with dogs. I like being in my own bubble. And at the end of the day, what people don't understand is that bubble, the only person in that bubble is you and them dogs. Nobody else can see that.
Hey, I told a guy once, I said, hey man, you should promote your dogs more and talk a little bit about it. He says, oh, my dogs talk for themselves. I said, dogs ain't got no voice. I'm sorry, bro. I said, and that rubbed him the wrong way. But I said, look, he said, well, I said, bro, I don't want to be known. I was like this, my nigga, my dogs ain't got no voice. That's just I said, this is way bigger than a dog, which is why there is no dog who comes before. Like when you look at, and I've seen this stuff, everybody knows, they know Cha-Cha. Shit, they know the general. They know the dog's names because of the kennel and our intent. And even still, after we saw success, I was telling Chris, I've got to change everything now. Now that because I don't want to get them fixated on this fit bully idea, because that's marginalizing where I think we can grow. And so I spent 6 months, at least a solid 4, thinking, what's the future look like? How do I want to, land? And then what are the things I need to work towards to make sure that I get clear about what I'm delivering? Because now I do know how to communicate effectively about a dog. And it could be, as Chris said, me simply opening the book. People be like, hey man, thank you so much for that free game. I'd be like, my nigga, I just opened the book and read it. And some of them be like this. Hey, can you tell me something? I'd be like, go get canine reproduction, such and such. Robert just hoping you answer the question. I'm like, my nigga, I can get the book. I don't want to answer. If I answer this, you're going to ask me 15 more questions. Here's the book.
The
Please.
funny part is I've had people pay me $20, $30, $40 to answer a question that they legitimately could have found in a book for free for the amount of money that I paid for the book.
That's that part right there, bro. And you know, people be like, hey man, you never share the books. I said, my man, if you was worried about books that I have, you would have found them already, my man. If you was that concerned about learning, you would have walked down said road. So what I do appreciate about Chris is he's a person who fancies information, definitely in relation to dogs. I think there's a lot of good things we're going to be able to do long term. You've got tons of experience that I want to pull from. And as I told you, like, yo, what's that consistency? And then how do you do it? Because on the podcast today, we talked about the shelter. And Kat said that one of the things she appreciates most is that when she had a dog who was covered in allergies, rescue, allergies, red skin, red eyes, puffy, nose, bad hair loss. She said, once we found you, bought Lola from you, and I started listening to what you, I said, well, let me try that. And every dog's allergy, she said, in 2 weeks, everybody cleared up. It was crazy just by making an adjustment with food. And she said, I get to go and share that with my mom, who was spending a ton of money, with my friends, people that I know from Facebook. So you say, what can I give her from a business standpoint? I go, what can I give her to share to continue to scale our idea? So, because she's using it, but there's no brand to it. So and somebody else, like Chris, tell 1,000 people the same thing, but nobody go say bulky build. There's the challenge, right? From a business standpoint, I'm saying, well, what do we give them? How many more? Where can we send them to go and scale and attract, this customer who potentially becomes a consumer, and build this business that makes money when we're asleep, because they've got an attachment to it. But we can't just say, hey, Chris told me such and such. No, what's the business? That's where I come in. So at any rate, man.
Talking about business. This is a commercial break. Please buy your puppy dog.
Puppy dog, my man. Hey, listen, guys. Chris is a guy who I tell you this, and Chris, I don't know if I told you, but I'm sure I told you. The only reason why I asked for, even you and Ruben to, invest initially is because I would have woke up and quit already. I'm one of those goal-driven psychopaths. Once I see it, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I got to do something else. And I keep compounding these skills, be it video, be it communication, be it marketing, be it sales. And I can go make, $1.5, meaning 150,000 easy, because people just want me in the room being a driving force. But I believe, like, yo, I appreciate you guys so much for what you've done. And I said, man, if I could be one person that just impacted their lives. I know how much your family means to you. I know how much success indirectly, but slowly but surely, becoming meaning more to you. And what that looks like, I'd love to cut them a check for $1.5 and then see $300,000 to $400,000 go to their account every month, because they didn't see their own value. And if I had started when they started 20 years ago, I had definitely figured this shit out. I'd be like, oh, no, we got to do this. I'm about to rule the whole goddamn world. But, getting you to that space is, what I'm working towards. But you heard him say it, I definitely came in. I want him to be great. I know that there's greatness there. He's, you're on the right path. So if you had to, we're not going to keep this on, because mind you, people, it's 52 weeks in a year. All I ask, once a week, can we put out this many episodes over the next year to keep building our brands? He's a part of my family, in a sense, and that's the Fit Bully, that's the Pangea, that's the My Dog Subs, that's the My Dog Tool. Everything that we're doing, the insurance company coming, all the things that I foresee, there's no scenario where Chris isn't involved, and eventually at a very high level. And the more we can achieve together, the easier, believe it or not, your life becomes. Because one of the number one stresses in life is finance. But it does take work. It does take a lot of work. So if you had to maybe finish them off with, maybe connecting to the youth, or keeping an open mind, or being mentored, putting your pride and ego aside, and finding other people you can learn from and grow with, is there anything you want to leave them with, man?
Two heads are better than one. So, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. people I hang out with don't know everything, but the three of us together will know more than just one person. And so I think there is value in numbers, you know. Just like I called you the other day and I said, hey, I need you to ask Ruben a question because I don't know the answer. You know what I mean? Like, I am dumbfounded. I'm stumped. I can't figure the shit out. So
Hey,
I think the thing is a lot of people, if we could just put our pride to the side and if we can communicate with each other when we have issues. And I'm not saying go to Facebook and look for diagnosis. I've seen it. Oh, my dog is, she's got blood leaking from her ear. What do I do? I'm not saying that. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you have here's what I tell my kids. Here's what I tell you. When you're finding a mate means anything. It could be, life partner. Today we got to say life partner. We can't say a wife or a husband. You got to say life partner these days. But if you're looking for a life partner, I tell them make sure you have something in common.
mm,
You know what I mean? Because that common ground is where you will always land when things go wrong. So I would tell people to make sure you have people around you that is like minded and like have the same passions, maybe, because when all else fails, you at least have that to fall back on. And I think that makes a huge difference with people. And we'll just take you and Jamarcus. You know what I mean? If Jamarcus is having a bad day, he knows that he can always come and y'all can do dogs. He ain't gonna say shit. He ain't gonna say, man, the old lady should give me hell. You know what I mean? He can just come to work and all right, man, this is work ego. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like
Stan's
let's
done that,
bust
man.
out the camera and
Stan's been up here. I think one of the most impactful days I've had with Stan, the dog man, was him literally coming up, and he had a tough time, and I'll definitely let him tell the full story. But he didn't even know that his daughter was struggling and was being bullied, and he didn't. I mean, there were some things where he literally drives an hour and a half to be up here on Thursday. Jamarcus didn't make it. He just needed to be in the presence of someone he trusted, and even when going to counseling and therapy, he said, he said, Trev, the therapist asked me, who would be your first call in a moment of crisis? I'd probably call Trev before he called his own mom, and that's a whole story. But point is you're 100% right in just having access to people who provide peace that don't require energy, but can refill you in a way that others can't. Because when it's work on the line, men need something to do. We need to be stimulated in a way that women oftentimes don't. But we just like, let's get out here and get gritty today, man. Let's get in the trees, let's get in the water, let's have fun.
yeah. I mean, that's all I would tell them. You know, I mean, when it comes to dogs, just have fun, man, and like you say, work. I say fun. You know, what I mean, just have fun with your dogs, man, and the bottom line is have people around you that don't aggravate you. That's the best way I can put it. You know what I mean? Just have people around you that are, yo, listen, y'all know I fuck with Jamarcus heavy, like every chance I can. But he knows it's never, I don't have no ill will in my heart.
Oh yeah.
None. He knows it's genuine fun. You know what I mean? And if the man says to me, yo, Chris, that's too much, man. I'm like, oh, stop being so sensitive now, but I would stop though. You know what I mean? But that's
We all
just
got
it.
tough skin, man, and the beauty about it is it does nobody around us. We don't have to be tough anymore. Those days are over. So
Yeah.
when you're giving them hard, it's one of those things that be good to have somebody to nitpick at it. And trust me, everybody does. It's something about him that gets some people going. They're like, man, I remember mom one day he said, look, Buddy got this for a really neutral. He said, Buddy got about one more time to motivate me with this next set, my nigga. I ain't trying to be here in the first place. He was getting tight, boy. But but
But you know what I'm saying? But that you remember that video that we did though that um people reached out to me and basically were saying that they thanked me because their son had that sense of admiration. The same thing for Jamarcus. I know his son does the same thing. So to me, that's pretty dope. You know what I mean? It's dope that yeah, we can joke and laugh, ha ha he, but I can also be there to pat him on his back and say, hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. That's something to be proud of, man.
and mind you,
So,
you did a good job of articulating, what that meant to you guys. And I haven't seen it, but I've seen it. And it's when those people you walk in and there's a guy named Miguel. He's a crazy fucker, literally just beat a murder case. But and he says, Wait, man, my kids were like, yo, Dad, I saw you on TikTok. He was like, oh man, it made my day, man. She was like, yo, how do you know? Boy, we watch everything, Daddy's on YouTube, such and such. He said, fuck, man, you've made me famous to my kids. That's all he wanted, bro.
For me, for someone like me, I, doing these is full, it's full and well, and it's cool because you're my man, 50 grand, you know, but for my son who wants to be a YouTuber, and he says, yo, I seen you on TikTok again, Dad. You were on my feed. I might have a 20-year-old daughter and a 22-year-old daughter, and they say the same thing. Yo, Dad, I seen you on Fit Bully TV. You know what I mean? And to
Chris is
them,
funny,
it's
man.
cool.
He's
To
like,
them, it's amazing. You know what I'm saying?
I
Hey,
told you I
Dad,
was fucking.
he got like 1 million followers. I've been like, I don't give a shit, but all right, cool. But they be like, but I'm telling you, so the things that people like, that's the thing. Fuck, dogs are one thing, family's another. The fact that I want to build this is why I'm this year, 2024, I'm gonna take it a lot more serious. I'm gonna try to learn how to do a little bit more videos because at the end of the day, I want my kids, I want something that is tangible like this. I can pass this to my son.
Mhm.
I want a name brand that I can pass to my son or my daughter, whoever want to take over. I don't want it to just be bulky built, whatever. Now I want it to be, oh yeah, them Jones, they was dope. Oh, he's still breeding. His son took over.
Hey, look, people, and mind you, I chastised Chris the other day and I said, hey, write me a plan. I know he spoke about many times, even his frustration, and make sure that it's beneficial to everybody. But my rebuttal to that is you've had a 20-year head start and you didn't see the value in yourself. And so when I'm picking on him from a business standpoint, I know he can breed a dog, bar none. He could breed my dogs and any dogs, and he could, motivate and inspire you. But you go, I would love, and I do repeat, I would love for, and I told Ruben this, I met his wife and I know Gina as well. And Nicole, you guys have these things to live for. And I told Jamarcus this one time. I said, Jamarcus, you always have a superpower. And in this case, if you ever get down, you just remember you got to be a father, man. I don't want any kids. I don't want any family. But if you had to get up to next 1,000 days and be the best you could be, you got a young man who's going to look to you because you didn't have a dad to be the best you could be. And he's like, yo, my dad did such and such. You don't know what type of, and I know because my dad did 7 years in prison, but my dad could do anything. And that's what drove me to be a psychopath because he made me do everything. And I've seen him at 40 grab the ball off the rim with flip flops on and put it back. And he's 5'10". I've seen my dad do some amazing things, weight wise, bench, everything. And you go, and he's intelligent as well, which makes him dangerous. But you go, as a kid, I like, yo, I gotta be like this nigga. And then I realized he's not a good person, so we can't be like him completely. But if we aspire to use that level of intelligence and we actually empower people and don't take from them, we could be very beneficial to the world. So for me, just vicariously living through all you guys, because I repeat, I don't want no fucking kids. I don't give a shit about family. It's like if I could give you guys an opportunity to take the family on a private jet that you own because you're a part of the business, say, hey, take them to fucking Spain. My buddy Parker, that 34-year-old dude just sold a business for 9 figures. He's taking 7 kids, 7 people to Spain for a month, buying 10 homes this year. You go, how did you do that? Well, he's going to tell us, but people say, well, Trev, how'd you meet him? Because I chose to be somebody. That motherfucker, no, I don't play around. And there are a lot of the people who I know wealthy, they're just waiting for me to like have the same access they have. Because I don't want to say discouraged. I just be like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, Chris, like, yeah, I can do the dog thing. I can do this. I can do this, do that. And once I'm over it, I'm like, moving on. So it's like I never was there. But I love being in, just a part of your journey, man, and being able to share that. And I love that you want something to pass on because real wealth, on top of the knowledge you have, is being able to tangibly give them something to live for. And that in itself gets interesting. So the little YouTube stuff, it doesn't register me, but a little kid, when he was at the reptile store, he says, I'm recording with my pod thing right here. And he says, are you guys on YouTube? And I said, yeah. So he's like, he's probably this big. Pulls out his phone. What's your thing? We tell him. He says, oh my, you have 600,000 followers. I said, yeah, man. But even a little fat kid, you go, that was funny, man. That was cool.
And there's what's that guy's name? Brian from the Reptile Army.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, obviously, he's got pancreatic cancer and he's passing away. So I just looked him up. I don't listen. I've seen some of his Jones. I've seen Jay from Prehistorics, whatever his name is. I didn't know, and and then I said, they said he had stage 4 pancreas. I said, ooh, that ain't good. He ain't gonna make that. And then he was going in the hospice and blah blah blah. Something just told me to look him up. Like, just look up the name and see if he had passed away. Blah blah blah. Right, bruh. I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna take this shit a lot more seriously. That some bitch made 12 million fucking dollars off of YouTube. Motherfucker, $12 million.
Yeah.
Listen.
Chris, just like you see, think about it like this. I tell people, I said, we doubling down, right? I've done podcasts all day. We did the dog thing. Shannon Sharp, he's on ESPN. He's on Club Shay Shay, and then he's got a nightcap with Ocho Cinco. From the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, 5 to 7 days a week, he exists. And to be relevant, in this case, kind of like you've got to exist. So myself included, believe it or not, I hate being in front of the camera, but you go, guys, how do we exist? So part of my existence is to do what we're doing right now, because the more they see you, the more they want to tune in. And it'll take a few reps, which I was betting on, right? But we were there. We did the podcast with X Dog. I got to just be clear. We got to a point after 50 episodes where we were getting maybe 10, 20 downloads. I think one month we had 127 downloads in a month, right? We've got 200 downloads in 7 days and ain't dropped but 12 episodes. And I'm not even put the shit on YouTube yet. So you go, wow, we're onto something here, which means you're onto something, man. And if I could do anything to highlight the people that I care about, the people who I believe gonna be with me, rock with me, that I can trust to get me to the finish line while I take everybody with me. If you pour out what you know and you share that with the multitude, a lot of people, they might like it, man. I said, let's see if I do the things I want to do, regardless of what they think. Would this work? And it worked. And I stayed true to my beliefs in terms of how I like to look at a dog and what I wanted to do. And again, he gives me a hard time, and I get it. You got to be careful because it's still a dog and needs to cool off all this other stuff. But foundationally speaking, I'm a very active person. And if anything, we'll get more active. And we'll talk about restrictions and movements and all that stuff in another episode. But Chris, Scott, my man, look, I don't want to keep you. I know it's going on, what, 9:30 out there. I appreciate you sitting down. Give me a few moments of your time. I'm telling you guys now, there's 52 episodes we're going to do Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. I'll be uploading it to both platforms so you can tune in to Bulky Built, tune in to Fit Bully TV. This is one of the most important people to my tribe and a part of my journey, and definitely a part of the business, to be clear. My job over the next year and a half, 15 months, if we locked in for 15 months, I tell people this, especially ones that bring me in to help them with their business. I said, if you had to do one thing for 15 months that could change your whole life, which one thing would you focus on? And sometimes they'd be like, oh, damn. I said, because you tell me all this stuff. Get me to 15 months from now. You spent a whole life wasting time. What does 15 months of pure work on one thing that makes sense to you look like? In this case, for us, it's going to be dogs, definitely going to be education, and then fine-tuning avenues that allow us to reach more people through education. Chris is a teacher. I'm a teacher. I love helping people, even though it gets annoying. As I always say, take care of your dogs. Guys, follow Bulky Built on all platforms. Stay tuned because we got more coming. Anything you want to say as we close this tonight, boss?
Nah, man. Amen.
Chris, man, have a good night. Thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, no worries, man.